Hey, what's going on, everybody? I'm back with another video. And yeah, I just want to jump right into it. So, one of the things I was sitting up thinking about was, how does your faith look in the midst of a storm? How does your faith look in the midst of a storm? So, when you're going through and when you're growing through a storm, it kind of brings down our faith. It brings down our confidence. It brings down who you are as a person, because you start wondering, like, why me? Maybe it's something I did wrong. You know, we start blaming ourselves. We start blaming other people. We start looking at ourselves like it's something wrong with us. But what you have to remember is you have to remember who you are and whose you are. You have to remember that you are fearfully and wonderfully made. You have to remember that no weapon formed against you shall prosper. You have to remember that if God is for you, who can be against you? So what does your faith looks like in the midst of the storm? So with me, my faith was down. My faith, I always believe in God. I know God is going to make a way. I just didn't know when, and I just didn't know how. And I had my hands on the steering wheel because I wanted to know when and how can I come out of this? And man, I just feel like giving up. I feel like throwing in the towel. I don't feel like reading my Bible today. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't feel like praying today. I don't feel like going to church. I don't feel like hearing about God right now, because right now my bank account is not looking right. Right now, my children is not doing right. Right now, I'm losing so many people in my life left and right. So how is my faith in the midst of this storm? You know, and then you have people that come and be like, well, you just got to trust God. You got to trust God. But when your faith is not there, I mean, it's there, but when you feel like, okay, I've been trusting God, but while I'm trusting God, I just lost a child. While I'm trusting God, I just lost a brother. While I'm trusting God, I just lost a parent. While I'm trusting God, my friend just passed. While I'm trusting God, my bank account is not looking right. While I'm trusting God, I just lost my home. While I'm trusting God, I just lost my job. But then you have to remember, where's my faith? Because God is bigger than that home. God is bigger than that job. God is bigger than any loss that you have taken. I know the loss of losing someone hurts, but I also know that God can give you peace and comfort and help you move past that in a healing way. So where's your faith in the midst of the storm? You have to have that faith. You can't give up on God. That's when you need God the most. That's when you got to read your Bible the most. Even when you don't feel like reading, allow the word to read to you. They now have this thing on your phone where the Bible can just read to you. If you don't feel like reading, if you don't feel like listen to God, put on a sermon, put on a song. You just got to feed your spirit, because anything that you starve will start hungering and thirsting. So if you starving your faith, if you starving your spirit, what happens when something starves? It begins to die. So you don't want your spirit man to die. You don't want your faith to die. God said, as long as you have faith the size of a mustard seed. So I know your faith is sometimes like, but Triana, you don't understand. Trust me, I do. That's part of your purpose. That's part of your journey. That's part of your testimony. But the thing is, you're not in it by yourself. I know you feel like you in it by yourself, because where mama and daddy at, where my kids at, where my friends at, where my brother and sister at. What you mean I'm not in it by myself? I've been going through this by myself. I don't even know what I'm gonna eat tomorrow. But God said, don't worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow worries about itself. See, the God we serve is God said, ask and you shall receive. Seek and you shall find. Jeremiah 29:11, for I know the plans that I have for you, plans to prosper you and not harm you, plans to bring you a hope and a future. So I get it, you going through, but God the type that I know you don't know what you eat, but get up, show up. You probably walk outside and somebody be like, oh, I got this for you. You might go outside and they be like, oh, I was just looking for somebody for a job. You know somebody with a job? Like, that's the type of God we serve. He aligns us with the right people. He purposes us in our direction and in our path. So we just have to trust him and take your hands off that steering wheel and know that God will lead you and purpose you on your way. So I just wanted to get on here and encourage someone that felt like me at times where is your faith in the midst of the storm, when it's raining, when it's pouring, when it's snowing, when it's a tornado, when it's a tsunami, when it's going crazy. Because trust me, I know this world can go crazy. I know it looks like a roller coaster sometimes. I know some days you feel like you up and some days you down. But you have to know that God is the creator of all. And that includes you. Anything and everything that was created, God created it. So when the creator creates something, who can fix it? The creator. So that's who you have to go to when you're going through. So I just want to encourage you and let you know that God sees you going through that storm. God knows that loss almost broke you. God knows that job almost broke you. God knows that you've been grieving and hurting for so long, and you like, when God, when God? And God just wants you to trust him. Put your life in his hands. Put your children in his hands. Put your finances in his hands. Take your hands off the wheel. And some of you are saying, I did that. I trusted God. It's no time limit on God. God's timing is not our timing. So trust God in everything that you do. Put God in everything that you do. Put God in that relationship. Put God in raising those children. God said, train up a child in the way they should go. In the end, they shall not depart. I know it looks like they're going the wrong way, but you have to trust that God will direct their path. Why? Because he said, I will order their path. Why? Because he said, I knew you before I formed you in your mother's womb. Why? Because Jeremiah 29:11 states it. And God is not a man that lies, but he holds on to every promise. So I just want you to trust God. Trust God that he's going to make a way. That storm will not last, but joy cometh in the morning. I know that the enemy got you thinking that God did this. It's God's fault. Nothing is going to get better for me. I don't know how it's going to get better. I hear what you're saying and I want to believe, but I just feel like throwing in the towel. I feel like giving up. Suicide didn't cross some of your minds, but suicide is not the answer. The answer is Jesus. The answer is giving it to God. The answer is to never give up. The answer is, it's a game of life. Is you go sink or swim. And when you with God, you have no choice but to swim. You have no choice but to keep going. You have no choice but to believe and trust that God has the final say. So even though your life is at a season where it feels like you can't breathe, that you're not getting no air, that you feel like, I just can't do this no more. Just know that's a temporary season. Just know that God has the final say. Just know that it does get better. That darkness won't always last. That light comes in the morning, that light will shine, and you are the light. So even while you going through and while you growing through, shine that light bright. That's when you be more grateful. I don't know what I'm going to eat tomorrow, but I know I'm going to eat. I don't know what my bank account looks like, but I know it's going to get better. I don't know how I'm going to get through this, but I know I'm going to get through it. I don't know who I am, but I know whose I am. I don't know how I'm going to get to this job because my car just broke down, but I know I'm going to get there. You have to start encouraging yourself. You have to start speaking to yourself, because one of the things we do, we are our own worst enemy. Yes, the enemy is fighting us, but we fight against ourselves more than the enemy fight against us. Start speaking to yourself good. Start speaking to yourself and over yourself. I am great. I am wonderful. I will get through this. I will make it through. God has the final say. God is the creator. God will get me through this. And you have to believe it. So I just wanted to get on here and encourage somebody in the midst of that storm. You keep going. In the midst of that storm, you keep encouraging yourself. In the midst of that storm, you be grateful for right where you are. And I understand, like, man, I don't even know where I'm laying my head at, but thank God that you got somewhere to lay your head. I don't even know what I'm going to eat tomorrow, but thank God that you will get something to eat. You have to just be thankful and know that the situation can be worse. When Job lost everything, he had to be grateful and thankful and know that he was coming out of it. So I just want to encourage you and let you know that you're coming out of it. In the midst of that storm, you coming out of that storm. Right now it's storming, but God giving you an umbrella. So if you hearing this, you got an umbrella right now. And that umbrella is protecting you and covering you. Yes, you're still in the middle of the storm. Yes, you're still going through the storm, but you're not getting soaked no more. You might be getting a little bit wet, but you have an umbrella now, and that umbrella is God. So if you're listening to this, then I'm encouraging you to make sure that you remember every single day and grab that umbrella, and that umbrella is God. All right. Well, I just wanted to get on here and encourage you and let you know to keep going, keep fighting. Giving up is not an option, and God has the final say. Thank y'all for watching. Thank y'all for always tuning in. I'm going to keep coming back with more videos, and I appreciate y'all. I love y'all, and Jesus loves you too.